The topic that we are going to consider today, they are like understanding what are partial discharges. Okay. Then two different methods of detecting partial discharges. One is a state detection method and other is a balance detection method. Okay. Within balance detection method also there are two versions of it. So one is with the differential sampling, maybe by using a dummy sample for the purpose of measuring partial discharges. So let us move ahead further. What are the learning objectives we must realize? Today, whatever we are going to study, we would like to see the significance of measuring partial discharges. So what are partial discharges and why we want to measure them? Okay, how do they differ with respect to maybe the dielectric constant and loss factor? अब तक हमने जो भी मेथड्स पढ़े थे उसमें we are measuring the dielectric constant and loss factor, that is capacitance and tan delta. But what are partial discharges? That is what we would like to understand. Then once we realize what are partial discharges, then first method, which is suggested by Kruger, is state detection method. Okay, and next one is the balance detection method. So let us start with the first part of the discussion. Partial discharge within insulators. Please remember, we are talking everything with respect to the high voltage insulators, or for that matter any insulation which is exposed to high electric stress due to high voltages. So we must realize that all solid insulators, even the liquid insulators, right, they have certain weak points in insulators, right? Let us say porcelain insulators are there or glass insulators are there. All these insulators, they have weak points in the form of cracks, voids, okay, cracks, voids, and other imperfections. Imperfections means that during the process of manufacturing, there is always the manufacturing processes are automated. So there is a possibility that there may be some or the other form of imperfections present inside the insulator, right? So what is the impact of these imperfections? These imperfections are very small. Generally, they may be in the form of a trapped gas or maybe a trapped air bubble, right, or a void. These are not detected by simply measuring the capacitance. We must realize, so far, whatever methods we have studied, they were based on measuring capacitance. So partial discharges which are due to imperfections, and imperfections are very, very small, right? Imperfections are very small and these are not detected by measuring capacitance. That means that usual Shearing's bridge, Mohs bridge, which are used for detecting the imperfections, cannot be used for detecting partial discharges. Okay, and rather they appear as increase in dissipation factor. So how do they appear? They appear in the form of increase in the dissipation factor, right? So these discharges which generally occur when high voltage is applied, the small gaps or voids inside the insulator, they conduct briefly and they call partial discharge and leading to increase in the dissipation factor. The location of partial discharges within a cable or transformer insulation provides information about area under great stresses. So this is very, very important. Please note, location of partial discharges within a cable. So cable is basically, it consists of an insulator carrying conductors which are laid underground. Naturally, it is very easy to understand that bare conductors like overhead line cannot be laid in the ground, isn't it? It has to be through some insulation, cable insulation or transformer insulation, right? So if partial discharges are present within cable and transformer insulation, right? And if we are able to detect them, naturally we will be able to find out the portion of insulation which is under greater stress. जहां भी partial discharge होंगे, जिस लोकेशन पे जहां पे भी जैसे एक बड़ा इंसुलेटर उसके कुछ पार्ट में अगर voids प्रेजेंट है या imperfection प्रेजेंट है, there the stress, electric stress, it will be higher, greater electric stress. Okay, due to imperfections, there will be greater electric stress in parts of transformer or cable insulation. Okay, so we come to the next point. Partial discharges measurements are used to assess life expectancy of insulators or insulating materials. So this is very, very important that partial discharges, these are used to determine the life expectancy. I mean, how long the insulator is going to stay in the service, life expectancy. So you can consider these kind of tests to be kind of a futuristic. That means if you're able to detect partial discharges, then in a sense you can even establish a time or life expectancy of an insulator. If the partial discharges go on increasing, dissipation factor goes on increasing, so greater is the electric stress on parts of that insulator, and that part is prone to failure earlier than the healthy portion of the insulator. So it decides ultimately, even if the insulator is partially damaged or partially it is a failure, so naturally the life expectancy will get reduced. So this partial discharges, these are a kind of futuristic, projecting into the life of an insulating material, and hence these are very important. Partial discharge methods, measurement methods. Let us focus on. We realize what are partial discharges. We realize how they are present inside insulator, and we realize what is their impact on the life. Okay, naturally, we would like to figure out how to measure them. Partial discharges can be measured with a variety of methods, including electrical methods, optical methods, acoustic means sound related, and chemical methods. So various methods, partial discharges which occur inside insulator, they can be measured by electrical method, optical method, acoustic methods, and chemical methods. Okay, now let us understand what is the relative comparison of these methods. So acoustic methods are the simplest one, the simplest and less sensitive method. The method when they are simple, right? Method when they are simple, they are bound to be less sensitive. Okay, you can realize here, simplest method, they are less sensitive. Is simply listening to hissing sound coming due to partial discharge. So when high voltage is applied across an insulator, it is realized that if the insulator starts making some kind of a hissing sound, उसमें से sound अगर आ रहा है, insulator के अंदर से कुछ आवाज आ रही है, so that is a clear-cut indication that there is some kind of partial discharge taking place inside it. So an ideal insulator should not be giving any hissing sound when we apply electric stress. उसमें से अगर आवाज आ रहा है तो सबसे आसान तरीका है, you just listen to the sound and then realize that there is a partial discharge. But of course, you don't know the intensity. That means it is a less sensitive method. Okay, it is a less sensitive method. Then optical methods are used when the insulators are transparent insulators, right? Optical methods. Optical means visualizing, either passing some kind of monochromatic light through the insulator or by visualizing the discharges. So such kind of measurements, optical methods can be used only by using transparent insulator. For example, glass insulators or fiber insulators which are transparent, they can be tested using optical methods. But if they are not transparent, then what to do? Then ultrasonic or ultrasound, you can say. Ultrasonic detectors are used in others. So ultrasonic, this medical field is very commonly used. Okay, ultrasonic detectors. These are used for non-transparent, okay, type of insulators. Electrical methods based on detection of impulse current provide highest accuracy. So we realize why this topic is landing here is that electrical methods, they provide highest accuracy. Electrical methods highest accuracy here because it takes into account various parameters, the frequency of the discharge and other parameters are there. Okay, it measures the current pulse, voltage pulse. Electrical methods of detection using impulse current provides the highest accuracy. And partial discharges can be broadly classified as internal discharges, okay, and external discharges. These are broadly classified in two forms. One is the internal discharges, okay, here it is the internal discharge, and then external discharges. Okay, what are internal and external discharges? We can see some examples of internal and external discharges in the form of some circuit diagrams here or schematic diagrams. Let us check with the next slide. So various types of discharges, partial discharges are shown over here. Wherever there are, you can consider top is a point electrode and bottom is a plane electrode. Here also point and plane electrode. The difference between these two is that this is a point and plane electrode without any insulator placed in between, and this is a point and plane electrode with insulator placed in between. Okay, then these are two plane electrodes where there is an insulator sample shown by the hashed line, and these you can wavy arrows, these are indicating partial discharges. That electric high voltage is applied across these electrodes, but conduction through the gap takes place, okay, causing some amount of impulse current to be resulting here. Okay, so these are the partial discharges. Okay, we generally do not want this partial discharge. This you can consider to be small gap between the electrode and the sample. Small gap between the electrode and the sample here. It is causing some amount of discharge, that is air is conducting in this area. Air is conducting in this area. Although insulator has not yet reached this particular terminal, okay, so there is an air gap and there is a conduction, that is partial discharge. Okay, so first one is a point and plane electrode with no insulator sample. We can see the discharge pulses surrounding the terminal. Here between the electrodes there is a insulator sample with a small air gap. It is showing again discharges in the form of arrows, and this plane electrodes again discharges down at the bottom, and down the lower figures, both these are indicating internal discharges. You can see between the two plane electrodes there is an insulator sample, and inside the insulator sample there are voids. Okay, there are voids. These are voids. Similarly, on the other side, you can consider this may be an example of a cable. Okay, or maybe a disc insulator, and there is a void inside. Some void is present. That means air is trapped inside the insulator and it is conducting. It is showing that there is a conduction due to electric stress. This void being small, the voltage across it may be sufficient to trigger the conduction across it. Okay, but generally we are expecting this insulator should not conduct. Conduction is there because of the failure of the air gap here. Because of the failure of the air gap. Okay, so these are the lower two figures. These are examples of internal discharges. Let us see the partial discharge mechanism. You can consider two plane electrodes, and in between there is a sample insulator. So this sample insulator, it consists of certain amount of void, maybe imperfection. So imperfection is assumed to have capacitance of Ca. Then the remaining part where there is no imperfection, the insulator is supposed to have capacitance Cc, and capacitance of area other than Ca in this region is Cb, such that Cc is largest, that of insulator. Okay, then Cb, the capacitance of area where there is no void, and capacitance of void. So equivalent circuit can be drawn based on this particular mechanism. And naturally, when high voltage is applied, the conduction will first take place across capacitor Ca. This will start conduction, or there will be a charging current flowing through this void. Current flows through this, and it will get charged. So what it will develop voltage across it. As voltage is applied, this will conduct. So current flows through this capacitor Ca. Generally, we are expecting no current flows through the insulator, but due to void, there is a discharge, and as discharge is there, current flows through this capacitor, and it will develop voltage. If we are able to detect this voltage, then we can certainly say that since voltage exists here, there is some discharge inside the insulator. But of course, this cannot be as easy as that, because inside an insulator, we don't know where the fine voids are present. We cannot even sometimes see with the eyes. If it is not transparent, we simply cannot look at where the void is present. So how to measure the capacitance across such a scenario where we don't know whether this void is here or here or here, in what volume, where it is present, and how much capacitance it may have, how long, what are the dimensions, and all that. Okay. So equivalent circuit is there. Ca represents the capacitance of void. Cb represents capacitance of part of insulator that is coming in series with the void, and Cc represents capacitance of rest of the insulator in parallel with this void and insulator combination. We come to the state detection method. So let us check. Here you can see there is a circuit represented. Okay, and various labels are there. For example, this one, you can see the number is represented here 1. So how 1 is a high voltage testing transformer. This is 2. It represents the filter, right? Then these are 3, 4, 5. These are electronic circuits consisting of band pass filter, then amplifier, and finally the CRO or counter here. Okay, so band pass filter, amplifier, and CRO. Amplifier is required. This is because partial discharges, they are available in the form of very low power pulses, which are to be amplified before they are seen by the CRO or noted by the counter. Counter means the one which can count the pulses. Okay. Now, apart from that, there are certain capacitances. Cx is the capacitance to be tested, or a sample capacitance. Cc is a coupling capacitance which is connected in series with the detector impedance. There is a impedance which will be connected across the sample, so that whenever pulses are applied across it, they can be inducing some voltage across this impedance, which will be measured by the assembly of amplifier and CRO. Now, apart from that, there are sources of pulses. Vk, this is a calibrating pulse generator, okay, and Ck, this is a calibrating pulse capacitor. Okay, calibrating capacitor. So this is filter. 2 is filter, 3 is filter, 4 is amplifier, 5 is CRO, 1 is a high voltage testing transformer, right? Then you have got here the sample to be tested, right? Then you have the pulse generator circuit here, right? And you have this detecting impedance. So when high voltage is applied across it, partial discharges will take place inside this particular assembly, and as a partial discharge takes place, voltage will be induced across detecting impedance, and this voltage will be amplified and seen on the CRO. This is the basic principle of operation. Let us take various elements highlighted. Again, it's a matter of repetition. High voltage testing transformer. Then this is a filter. There's a band pass filter, amplifier, CRO or counter. Okay, sample capacitance, coupling capacitance, detector impedance. Okay, and then you have this calibrating capacitor and calibrating pulse generator. Let us go through the details of this particular method as I explained through diagram also. The charge present across capacitor CA, that is void inside the sample, will be discharged through the insulator capacitance CB and CC. Okay. So this principle we have realized from that equivalent circuit, that current will flow through the void area because it conducts, and as it gets charged, it will be discharged through the insulator capacitance CB and CC, and this is what will be measured by the amplifier. A measure of voltage pulse across the capacitors provides the amount of discharge. So when it discharges, it induces voltage across capacitors CB and CC within sample, and we can measure the voltage. Okay, but practically measuring voltage only across CB and CC for an insulator sample is difficult in practice because we don't have isolated capacitors CA, CB, and CC. Rather, they are composite within an insulator. So how do we realize that whether the discharge has taken place only across CB and CC and to what extent? So this kind of measurement across CB, CC is difficult. So what are the options available? Okay. An apparent measurement across detecting impedance is made, right? Apparent. So the discharge voltage can be measured by connecting a detecting impedance across the overall sample rather than across a part of a sample, which is hard to determine. Discharge pulses can be visualized as stationary straight lines on an oscilloscope with time-based signal having same frequency as AC supply voltage. So this is suggested by scientist Kruger. Okay, so discharge pulses, we can see there are two sources coming across the impedance. One is the high AC voltage from the transformer, right? And the other one is in the form of calibrating pulses having same time-based signal as supply frequency. The signal developed across the impedance ZL is passed through the bandpass filter and amplifier, and it is displayed on CRO as an elliptical pattern overlaid with pulses. So you can see that there is an elliptical pattern. This is due to the AC voltage source from high voltage transformer, and it is overlaid with pulses. So these pulses are generated by the secondary source represented by voltage Vk. So these pulses will be overlapping with the elliptical pattern. So when these pulses are applied and discharges are taking place, how to detect, or what is the result obtained? Let us check in the form of diagram. So these are the CRO output samples which are obtained through the testing using state detection method. Okay, so let us check what are the output samples. On the top, you can check here. This is a sinusoidal wave that is applied across as high voltage across sample, and when the partial discharge takes place, voltage will be induced across detecting impedance, and that voltage will be applied to CRO. If it is a pure sine wave with no pulses applied, then the bandpass filter will enable generation of such a sweep type of pattern, elliptical pattern, okay, on CRO. So you can see CRO elliptical display is a kind of a sweep. Okay, frequency of sweep is same as the supply frequency, that is 50 hertz, right? So you check this one, elliptical pattern for simple sine wave, right? Then next is consider a point and plane gap type of arrangement. The results are shown. Okay, corona discharges in point plane configuration. So In the absence of any corona discharge, the elliptical pattern will be visible like this, very similar to the one that is shown here at the top. Okay, no corona discharge. Corona discharge, what is corona discharge? It is basically external type of partial discharges, the one that takes place in the air. We have seen diagrams earlier. There are two types of discharges, internal and external discharges. So external discharges are also known as corona discharges. Internal discharges are known as partial discharges. Okay. And right hand side, you can see some pulses are visible here. Whenever there are some corona discharges in the point plane, the straight pulses, that is why the method is named as a straight detection method. You can see some pulses. It indicates that there is an external discharge with the point plane configuration. Let us see the next sample here, right? In the next sample, you are again observing discharges in the voids. If there are partial discharges within the insulator, right, then the pulses that will be seen on the CRO will have this kind of pattern. You can see that this is a pure sine wave, and these are the straight pulses induced by the pulse generator. If there are voids inside, then these pulses will have a higher frequency of appearance on the elliptical pattern. So you can see number of straight pulses are available here, both for the negative discharge pulse, also for the positive discharge pulse. So this is the pattern for discharges within voids. Okay, and if the voids are surrounded by the conductor on one side, then the pulses, they will have more of negative discharge pulses and less of positive discharge pulses. So clearly there are three patterns: top, no pulse, then some pulses, so external discharges, and then many pulses. That means it shows that there are discharges, internal discharges, external discharge, internal discharges. So method is able to discriminate between no discharge, external discharge, and partial discharges within the insulator. Right. Let us now move ahead and check with the range of measurements. In a narrow band detection scheme for straight detection method, the sensitivity is 1 picocoulomb for a sample capacitance of 100 picofarad. So you can see sensitivity. Partial discharges can be measured with capacitance discharging having value up to 1 picocoulomb. So very small capacitance can be detected here. But of course, this is applicable for a sample capacitance of up to 100 picofarad. Right. So next is wide band detection scheme is there, wherein the sensitivity varies from 0.005 picocoulomb. So you can clearly see there is a drastic increase from narrow band to wide band. It's a much higher accuracy. This is nearly 200 times accuracy as compared to that of a narrow band detection, and it is applicable for test capacitance up to a value of 6 picofarad. Okay, and higher low resolution is often as compared to narrow band, 15 picocoulomb, but having a sample capacitance of up to 250 microfarads. Okay, so these are the wide range. Very small test capacitance, 6 picofarad, it can measure, and it can also measure very large sample capacitance, 250 microfarad. Okay, so narrow band, it has range up to 100 picofarad, but wide band detection scheme, it has a range up to 250 microfarads. Let us move ahead with the balance detector scheme. Okay, so balance detector scheme, it utilizes Shearing's bridge as a basic bridge with some modifications to it, right? So what are the components of the Shearing bridge? You can clearly see they are indicated over here. This is a basic Shearing bridge. Okay, source, it is shown across these two particular corners of the bridge. Okay, This is the high voltage source, right? Then this is test sample CX, which we would like to measure for partial discharges, and then other arms of the bridge, the standard capacitor, then the variable ratio arm bridge elements, R3, variable capacitance C4, R4, right? These are used for getting that balancing equation, right? So this is typical sharing bridge, high voltage sharing bridge. But the detector, it has got additional assembly in the form of filter, amplifier, and a CRO. This is because a very small partial discharge will take place, so that fine detection can be done only using filter and amplifier. We have to filter out the noise, and only the pulses will be supplied to the CRO for purpose of detection. So balanced detector method. Now, why balanced detector method is used? It is because it is observed that with the use of state detection method, right? If some noise is present or some harmonics are present on the AC side of the source, so they will affect the results to be measured over here. With the balanced detection method, the noise will get cancelled because of the balancing of the bridge. The noise present due to the source, they will get cancelled, and only the partial discharge taking place inside this will be detected by the detector. Okay, so that is the advantage of balanced detector method over the state detection method. It is able to handle noise. Noise means the unwanted frequency band which affects the measurement. Okay, so this is the sharing bridge, right? This is the filter, then next the amplifier, and a CRO or a counter. Sharing bridge operation we have seen. Let us go through the next slide. Now this next slide, it shows yet another type of sharing bridge configuration with a modification here that all other elements are same. Okay, all other elements are same except this particular branch, right? You can see here there is a dummy sample introduced. This is a dummy sample. Okay, this dummy sample means that the same insulator can be used over here. This the dummy sample. It ensures that the disturbance that are not handled with the help of a simple balance detector, they are taken care by the differential detector method using a dummy sample. Okay, so let us go through this particular description of these methods. So sharing bridge with a dummy sample, then again here filter, amplifier, and CRO. Let us go through the circuit operation. The primary limitation of state detector is error due to external discharges despite of using filters. Okay, main limitation of state detector, error due to external discharges despite of using filters. Filter use होते हैं लेकिन external discharges की वजह से there is limitations. Okay, filters are unable to rectify that one. Sharing bridge used for measuring tan delta is used with modification of filters connected across the null detector. The bridge is tuned to the power frequency and filter is tuned to the frequency 5 to 50 kilohertz. The filter allows pulses of these frequencies to pass through. The CRO displays the amplified pulses, okay, and external disturbances are balanced out, and only internally generated pulses of sample will be detected. So this is the advantage of the, as I said here, that external disturbances other than the partial discharge, they will be eliminated, so that we consider that as a noise, something that we do not want to measure. So this method is able to take care of noise, maybe disturbance on the source side or disturbance due to the external discharges, coronal discharges that are taken care here. Okay. Differential bridge assembly offers better rejection of noise with the use of dummy sample, test sample instead of a standard capacitance. Okay, so let us come to the summary of what we have learned today. आज हमने जो कुछ भी पढ़ा है partial discharges के बारे में. So let us summarize it. The partial discharges are intermittent discharges within insulators. They are mainly due to cracks, voids, and other imperfections. Partial discharges are measured by detecting high frequency pulses of low power detected using filter and amplifier circuit. So partial discharges can be measured by detecting high frequency pulses of low power. Straight detection method uses detection impedance and CRO. So first method was straight detection. It uses detection impedance along with CRO, and balance detector method eliminates the error due to external discharges. Noise को कम करता है and provides better rejection with the dummy sample balancing arm. So this is what we have understood with respect to the partial discharge measurements for insulators. Okay, so let me just come back to the interaction